How's it feel now? Huh? That's right, Schmidt. Schmidt, we got one. I got him. Yes!
All right, we had to show that again. That was just too fucking funny. Welcome back to another episode of Sunny Days at the Racetrack. How you feeling, brother?
Good, not a bad week. So
yeah, I mean, they
all right.
It was a horrible month, but they fucking won.
I know. Well, it's a new month now. December's a new month.
It is a new month. Yeah, it was rough. It was definitely rough.
That away trip was really rough.
Yeah, the away trip was pretty fucking disappointing. We stole a point against Edmonton, but everything else was just
everything was pretty rough. But we got the end of the week on the dub. Got the shutout for Sorokin, 101st win. That was good.
Good for him. Nelson passed Tenelli. Is it Tenelli?
Yes.
Number 9?
Yeah.
So he's setting records, which is great. Palmieri's having a monster year. Sipakov finally scored. McLean finally scored his first goal too, which is great. But yeah, it was definitely a rough month. But the big thing that I put in the description of this video, and everyone's going to be seeing it, that I want to talk about, that we want to talk about, is what the fuck is going on with Lou and Wah?
We got to click it, Kate. Oh, in the bio. It's weird.
What happened?
Just trying to watch the show.
Where, on YouTube?
Yeah. Oh, go on YouTube. All right. Yeah, you should go on YouTube.
Instagram not work? Instagram is not working. Oh boy. All right. Well, that was a way. You know what? The people on YouTube got to see the video. I don't know why Instagram's not working right now. I put the stream key and everything.
I sent it to you right now, bro.
All right. Well, that's annoying.
It's all good, brother.
Regardless, the thing definitely you got to talk about is what's going on with Lou and Wah. There's definitely something there. I know we mentioned this before, that he said it once. Martin was signed to the 1 year, and then they brought up Fashing, and they were talking about the call-ups at the end of the game, and he said Lou felt it was the right time to bring these guys up, and it was more of like a shit goes wrong, it's not on me kind of thing. This is Lou's team, which is not a good look.
No,
and it makes people worried. But the biggest thing was Lou.
You call a lot of guys up at once too, man.
Yeah,
a lot. I mean, you couldn't really dodge it though with all the injuries, but it's like a whole new, like, especially the defense, is a whole new pairing.
Yeah, I mean, I get all of that, but I don't know if it was more of who was picked. Maybe that's what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Especially since you have a guy like Gauthier, who I'm kind of still surprised is not playing with all the.
He's still down there, and he scored, I think, the last game. He's doing his thing down there. So I thought he would have been called up by now, especially with the declare in the Barzell injury. I thought he would have been up by now.
It would have been nice to see his speed, because we're missing a lot of speed right now. But yeah, so the most recent thing is at the end of the Washington game. I know that
was a tough game, man, and the overtime was tough.
Yeah, I mean, we should have had that game. We're winning 4-2, and then we blow it and lose in overtime.
Same thing with the Bruins game. I know, like, I don't mean to cut you off, but dude, we're tied up, and it's just like it has buried us in that thing. The third period's rough. I mean, thank God, maybe beat Buffalo, and we shut them out too, which is kind of surprising. Because they had our number the last meeting, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, man. I mean, we're back in it, so keep going. What do you got?
Yeah, I was gonna say. So after those games, I mean, Wah sat with the media, and they were talking about how things were going, and he said the power play was awful, and he was being very blunt. He mentioned that they keep talking about Wallstrom's finishing, but I haven't seen it yet, which I'm like, finally.
Little jab,
he's fucking said something, because I despise the guy. But you're the coach too. You also don't want to shit on your players. I get it, but I'm missing that fire from the guy. You know what I mean? Like, he brought a lot of that energy to start last season, or the middle of last season.
I still hear him on the sidelines, at least, like whistling and yelling. Like that Buffalo game when we had the power play, I could hear him yelling out for the line change. Yeah, so, I mean, there's definitely like an umph in him. Yeah, I guess maybe he's not too vocal. I don't know, like what. I mean, hockey, it's not on Sports Center. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm like, at least I don't know, in the U.S. at least, it's not like everything's mic'd up and on Sports Center the next day.
Yeah.
But maybe just like fan base wise and like league wise, he wants to be like more. He's very, you're right. He's very dry. He's very cut to the point, straight to the point.
Yeah. and he's been
it's
positive.
fine. I mean, I'm kind of used to it by now.
Yeah.
And he was like that last year when we first got him because like we won a couple games and then we went on a skid, and he kind of like shut down too. I felt like that's just like his personality. He's very competitive. Obviously, he's a competitive dude, so he wants to win. You know, maybe that's just how he is.
That's a good point. Yeah, it could be that. But one comment that he did say was, "This is the team." This is verbatim what he said. He goes, "This is the team that Lou gave me. I love these guys. I'm going to stick by these guys." And whatever, that's not so much verbatim, but he did verbatim say, "This is the team that Lou gave me." But
yeah,
he's going to do what he can to do right by these guys, by this team, work the hardest for these guys. He loves these guys, loves his team, whatever. But saying the words, "This is the team that Lou gave me," is not really the greatest fucking thing to say.
No, because you're making it sound like he just gave you a pile of shit, or at least here's the pieces to it. Go fix it.
Yeah.
You know, but it's not. It's hard to fix right now when you still have three major key components out. You have 2/3 of your first line gone, and you have Pellick out. That's kind of hard to finesse this right now, and people kind of forget. It's been like a month now. It's been over a month, I think, right? I think November 2nd is when Barzy got hurt.
I feel like Barzy we would have heard some news,
something by now. I mean, just hit the 4-week mark. We're at 4.5. Let me get my dog. She keeps eating something. I'm gonna phone. Come here. What are you doing? What are you doing? Get out of here. No.
You gotta bring her on the camera.
Yo, I swear, you can't leave him alone for a freaking minute. Yeah, I think November 2nd, November 1st was his injury for Barzal. I'm not sure when Duclair was, but
it's been a while now.
Yeah, and they said 4 to 6 weeks. I guess it's gonna be the full freaking 6 weeks, huh?
I guess. I mean, what's crazy is
there's no update because I looked on what was the last game? Last game was what, Saturday?
So last game was Saturday.
Saturday, yeah. I looked Friday or Saturday, then I was like, update. I just kept typing from Barzal injury, update, and nothing further for him or Pellick. Yeah. So and Duclair, nothing really. It's just upper body, and that's really all I got.
Which is crazy because I saw that Ross Colton from Colorado, he broke his foot, and he's skating and he's going on the road trip, the upcoming road trip. He might be playing soon, and he got injured around the same time.
Well, we've seen that with like Crosby in the past when guys break their freaking jaw. They just throw the mask on and they're back on within a week or two.
Yeah, but a jaw and a foot are different. I mean, breaking your jaw, that definitely sucks. But when you're breaking your foot, if your ass is not getting in that skate, it's going to be kind of hard to move around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's pretty amazing. I mean, these guys are top of the line athletes, so it's and they have.
I mean, you never really see Barzal hurt either. I can't tell you this. No.
And never for long. Never for this long.
Pellick's he was hurt a lot last year too. But Barzal, I've never really seen hurt like this. Yeah. So
the last time he was hurt this long, I think, was when we just got Horvat and he only played like 2 games with him, and then he was out.
I don't know if it was 4 weeks though.
I don't know if it was 4 weeks, but it was a long time. It was quite a bit. We went on a tear without him. Was just kind of hoping for the same.
That's February, I think, right? Yeah. February.
I was kind of hoping for the same, but it did not happen.
It's hard because that line is being messed around with a lot, dude. It's not a consistent, really line.
Yeah, now you see Holmstrom on that line.
Mm-hmm.
He finally played well. I mean, he's been playing well wherever he's been at, but he's been
that second line is carrying us, dude. They're your whole offense right now.
Yeah,
and which is fine because that's why you have it.
Yeah.
But shit, dude, and I don't mean to blame Horvat or say anything wrong, but you kind of want some balance a little bit. I feel like our only productivity is really just the second line right now.
Yeah.
And it shows like how detrimental having Barzal and Horvat together. Like you need that to work. And that kind of, conquers any other discussion of really putting them on any other line because they need to be together. Because with all the moving parts we've been throwing in the past month, nothing's really clicking and getting that to work. A guy stepping up though is Lee. Lee's stepping up big time, man. I feel like he's getting a lot. He's doing a lot. He's getting a lot done. And Palmieri too. I know Nelson, but Palmieri's doing great too, man. Those are 2 guys that have stepped up in the past couple of weeks. Is both Lee and Palms. And Sorokin looked stud, bro. Awesome shot against Buffalo. Buffalo's a frisky team, man. Yeah, it's a frisky team to play with, dude. You can't count them out. Standings are close, so every game is pretty detrimental.
Yeah,
But we had a few games. I think we had played Saturday. We play again tomorrow. So yeah, we'll see what the standings are tomorrow after the games of tonight.
Yeah,
but God willing, man, everything plays our way. I was rooting against Pittsburgh the other night. I think Boston played them on Saturday. I was rooting hard. I don't know if they won or not, but damn, man, that's how close it is right now.
Yeah, it's very close. It's very, very close. But we mentioning guys like Palms and Lee. Lee, like we said, has a resurgence this season, which is great because he was killing us last season. And Palms, he's consistent, which is
him and Nelson,
he's been so streaky his whole career.
Holstrom too. Holstrom got 2 the other night, right?
Holstrom has 2. He has 4 goals in his last 2 games.
Great. Yeah, it's great.
I mean, he's killing it. So, I mean, run with the hot hands. If he's playing well on the top line and Lee's still contributing on the third, fine. But Waz seems to be swapping those guys throughout the game. He'll put Lee back on the first, put Holmstrom back on the third, and vice versa.
We got tomorrow, Montreal.
Got Montreal tomorrow.
Okay.
Which they're another team that's, has their own struggles. I mean, their goaltending is absolutely horrendous. I mean, the numbers, if you look at them, it's like I think Montebo is the starter technically, but I think he's like
they struggled a lot last year too, man. They were struggling a lot. They were like Chicago last year. They were hurting.
I want to say I don't know how accurate this is, but I want to say his fucking goals against is like a 3.8. It's like I think it's I know that his save percentage is like an 8.8 or 8.9.
You don't want to see that in NHL.
No good. And then
even as a backup, you don't want to see the 8.
And the backup Primio, who had some good flashes last season, he's even fucking worse. I mean, he's playing like ass. So their whole fucking goaltending situation is screwed. They got a lot of youth though, so I'm sure they'll at some point right the ship whenever they get a good goaltender. But either way, what's going on with Wah and Lou? There's definitely something happening between the two of them. It's the second time now that Wah has kind of said something that's like hinting that there's issues between the two of them.
I'm sure.
I mean, regardless, you don't want to blame. Winner. Exactly.
And you have, 2 times, what was 2 or 3 times Stanley Cup champion versus Schmuck.
I think he won 4 times.
4?
I think he's won 2 with Montreal and 2 with Colorado, I think.
Oh, shit. Yeah, either or, man. You have a competitive guy, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's definitely working these dudes. Same thing with Trotz, man. Trotz was another one. And then you just have Lou. Lou's kind of like,
I mean, Lou did some amazing things
at first,
but like I don't know if it's an age thing or it's just I don't know what it is. But
even getting Wow was great.
Wow was a Hail Mary. We're still talking about that. I mean,
100%. But you don't see that on the rosters, though. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to our roster, you don't. Like I said, the most excited I've been in the past couple years besides was probably to Splakov.
Splakov was great.
Yeah,
I mean, we were hoping for more offense. I know everybody was.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, like who else have we really acquired in the past 6 years? It's been the same.
It's been pretty much the same.
I mean, we drafted Holmstrom in 2019. Like, I mean, that's youth wise, really, and we've had Sorokin since like 2014.
Yeah, So it's
man.
Been, I mean, Sorokin was. He came as soon as we got Lou, right?
Yeah, so Sorokin came in 2019, 2020 season. I think that's when Sorokin came.
2020.
Yeah. Lou came summer of 2018.
Yeah. So we got Trotz. We couldn't keep Tavares.
Yes.
We didn't get Sorokin right away. We got Sorokin the next year.
Yes.
Or the year after.
2019, 2020, because we had Sorokin in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But we had that big act, like we had that big crazy thing with Schneider, Zajac, and Palmer, I think, in 2020. That was nuts.
Yeah.
And we had Andy Green at that time too, so we had 4 Devils.
We just grabbed all the Devils. But it made sense because that's what Lou was doing. Lou was grabbing people from teams
faces.
He grabbed Komarov.
Oh my God!
Remember that? So that's fucking Toronto. He brought Matt Martin back. Toronto.
We did get Matt Martin back. He was gone for 2 seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we got all the Devils, but he knew the Devils because he won the Stanley Cup with them. So he built
Zajac was good. I mean, he was great, but great dude. Getting Palm, I would never have thought that, man.
Yeah,
that would have been like dude. Without him, imagine.
The Long Island
I'm sure someone else would have stepped in too, but damn, dude, him and Nelson are just a vibe.
Yeah,
really are.
That's why it's the only line that hasn't been touched. I mean, we've talked about moving Splakov up just because we have so many struggles, but they don't want to separate him, which I get it. I get it. I mean, even when Sabakov's not scoring, he's still a big presence.
The big dude too. I think that's like my biggest problem is with the management is that like this is never like someone's first home in the Islanders. Really, if you think about it, we are always getting them from somewhere else. Like we never like I don't know. Maybe that's a little like stingy of me, but a lot of acquisitions we get are just like we got Duclair is great, but like this is like Duclair's like 10th team. Same with like Foudy. Foudy's young and everything, but it's like his 4th team in 2 seasons. Like he's been traded constantly. You kind of want to see something like this guy's gonna be here. This guy's good. He's gonna stick around for a while.
Yeah,
you know. So I was really hoping with that. Like last year, I think it was with Tarasenko. I was like praying that we were gonna get something. But it is what it is. Same with Stamkos. Stamkos, I think last year before we went to Nashville, I was really hoping maybe with the offense we could have grabbed him. But we'll figure it out. I mean, that's what we do. We'll figure it out.
Mind you, all those guys are guys that were at their prime 3-4 years ago. Before they had that opportunity. So hitting them at that age is like you got to hope they can pull that out, and show that old side. But if they can't, it just looks like a shitty move because you're grabbing for a name. He's doing good, He's also playing with a very good team in Nashville.
Their team is stacked now, dude.
Yeah, I mean their team is stacked.
They're blowing in.
So him coming in, he's still not their number one guy. That's how good they are.
So when he was on Tampa, I remember we played them. It was like 2 or 3 years in a row, man. That team was tough. They had Point. They had Stamkos. They had Hedman.
They had Callahan.
Did they have Callahan? We played him in the playoffs.
They had Callahan.
Shit.
It hurt worse when we had to go against Callahan.
Oh man, I remember, dude. Hedman and Point, bro. Those guys were just dogging us.
They're still monsters. They're still monsters,
a team, man. And then who's in that? Vasilevsky, right?
Vasilevsky.
And I'm trying to think who was. I forgot, man. This is like 3-4 years ago, but yeah, dude, those are. That was a team that reckoned.
Kucherov.
Yeah, Nikita Kucherov.
Oh yeah, can't forget about Kucherov.
But dude,
we had some lucky times where we didn't have to play him always. But
somehow we did. We still toughed it out to Game 7 and Game 6 was 6 with those guys with freaking Anthony Beauvillier and Berard. Like, you know what I mean? Like shit like that, But hey, and then I think Pulak had that 6th save. Remember that?
Yeah, he saved it, which is a fucking insane. Him coming down just on his knee, just putting the hand out. Yeah. Good fucking memories, man. It sucks that we didn't fucking beat them, but
if we beat, I know we're going crazy off topic, but if we won both those years against Tampa, we would have won the cup. We would have played Dallas. We would have smoked Dallas, and we would have played Montreal the following year, I think.
And we would have smoked them.
Yeah.
There was no way. Because they were easily destroyed by Tampa.
Both those teams got walked.
We were the only fucking team that really could push them to the brink. That was it.
We did. And that Game 7 and 21 was a 1-0 shorthanded goal in the first fucking period. I'll never forget that, dude. It was the first period. I was like, oh, we got it. Don't worry.
First time I met your wife.
Yeah, look at that, man. It's
a rough day for everybody. I'm kidding.
You know what, man? Yo, good memories though, dude.
Yeah, no.
Great memories. Wow, getting that deep. And we played Boston. I remember we played Boston, bro. Oh my god, I was such a. Oh,
I was. Damn. I mean, us getting out of those some of those series was pretty. I mean, I never thought we would get past some of those teams.
I think we played Florida in the wild card. Even that was like shitting a brick, dude. Like, oh man.
Yeah, Florida. That was for the little playoff thing during COVID.
Yes, what I'm talking. Yeah, it was like
3. Yeah,
you have 2 wins. That was it.
That was 3.
Yeah, that was messed up, man. And we didn't have home. We didn't have home ice because we squeaked in. It was brutal.
Yeah, and nobody had home ice.
No, everything like Toronto or Montreal.
Hey, listen, they still miss it. I know. I saw a thing the other day. I think there was Cizikas talking about how he missed the bubble. I'm sure. I mean, you miss your family, but it was nice hanging out with all the boys.
Beer pong.
Oh yeah, coming out with a robe.
That we just got him that time too. That was around the same time we got him.
That was a great acquisition.
Oh my god. Yeah, I guess you're right, man. We're lucked out. I just wish some others. I don't mean to be a dick, but I wish some things others like panned out, like Foudy. Yeah. Foudy's doing all right, I guess. He's in Bridgeport, and
he's an old draft pick. I mean, he was a number 1 draft pick that busted. That's really what it is. He's a bust. You got to hope that he turns it around. Sometimes the new scenery changes a player. I mean, we've seen
with Gautier, like you brought up too, man. I wish,
yeah,
he was pretty stud like with the Rangers there for like 3 or 4 seasons. You know, I really, but it is what it is.
Not everybody can be a Nino Niederreiter. I mean, we had Niederreiter, got Clutterbuck, and then he went to Minnesota.
Yeah.
Played really well. So it's not everybody.
Wow. We're talking like
that was one of those things. It's like he just couldn't play with us. He isn't showing up on time. He was a fucking asshole.
Wow.
Then he goes to new scenery, and all of a sudden he's like, I'll play now. It's like, you fucker. Sometimes that shit happens. It sucks. But
that was dark times, man. That was like 2012, dude. That's
bad. That was when that announcement was at the draft party when they used to do it at the Coliseum because they didn't have anything for the playoffs, but we had the draft party. They had all the fucking players there. So not all of them, but a lot of the players there. I got to meet Kevin Poulin.
Oh shit, yeah.
That was a long time ago. But yeah, so going back to the main topic at hand because we keep getting off track. What do you think is going on with Lou and Wah? Who's in the wrong? What needs to happen?
Who's always going to be in the wrong here? I mean, you can't side with this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like Wah, since like I said, I feel like Wah knows what he's doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like it's just what I think's hurting us right now is just the injuries. I mean, I know that sounds crazy and like an obvious statement, but that's what I think. I don't think I can't complain with Wah's doing, at least with the line changes and the line. Sometimes I disagree with the lines, but
what do you disagree with?
I don't know. Sometimes they switch them up or who goes in net. Like I think Varley went in against the Capitals, if I'm not mistaken.
We've been rotating 100%.
Yeah. And I just feel, maybe because like we're just so our backs against the wall a little bit. I just want to see more Sorokin, but for the most part, I really can't complain with the Wah. Like I feel like the lines are fine. The offense is there. It's just the defense, dude. We let up 5 goals. I know it was 6-3, but I think one was an empty net against Boston. But we let up 5 goals against Boston. It was a tie game, 2-2 going into the third.
Yeah, that was a game.
It's like shit like this. You can't coach. I don't know if you can. I don't know. I never played, but goddamn, like, dude, like some things you just can't. You can't
Third
help.
periods fall apart.
That's what I'm saying. Like I really
regardless
don't
of
think
whether we're down or we're tied or we have a lead, we can't.
What I read or what I heard. That's why I don't think it's wild. I don't think it was wild last season. Even in the playoffs, playing against Carolina, like what else are you gonna do? We rode Varley. Varley did what he could do, but you're facing a fire offense, man, against an okay defense. The only guys that were really doing well at that time was like Pulak and Pellick, and they were kind of like still coming off their injuries because they were both hurt the first third of the season. But come back to what I said. It's a third period. I think what I read or what I saw on the radio, we've lost 10 games while we were winning in the third period.
Yeah.
Third, I think it was 3 overtime losses and 7 in the third. Like, you know what I mean? We brought 3 in the overtime. We lost, but the rest was regular in regulation. It's like how can you help that? We had a similar problem last year.
It's a problem. It's a major problem. It's the same old problems. Dude. It's the same old problems of positioning, communication, and not playing a full 60.
Like that Seattle game was like one of the most frustrating ones.
Yeah.
We're fine. I think we're up 2 goals. I think we're up 2 goals. And it's like, all right. And then quick, they scored twice against us. And I think we may have been up 1. But either or, they scored within 2 minutes and 30 seconds and the game's done.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, like, I mean, maybe that's how I am. I just don't think Wow's really doing. He's like, it's like he said, he's given what he's given and he's trying to work with it. It doesn't really help that you can't forget Riley. Riley's out for God knows how long. You don't have Pellick. You don't have Duclair. You don't have Barzell. Those are 4 guys, bro. Like, what do you want him to do? He's calling up Isaiah George, who no one probably really knew of him, honestly. Hudden we've seen, obviously, but Hudden's up a lot now, and so is Cholowski's up. Like, you're calling guys who – what do you expect? What do you expect? Especially in the defense. The defense is totally different. Like you said, each pairing is effective. Like, what can you – these guys can't keep up with NHL caliber. Especially – Cholowski's great, and he has some glimpses that look good. But he's getting burned. Same with Isaiah George. Isaiah George is physical, which I love, and he's fast, which is great. But it's a different level. You know what I mean? There's reasons why we don't see like Matt Maggio or Skarek or Cardo. I think I might be butchering his name, but Cardro, which is the captain of Bridgeport. There's reasons why we don't see them yet because it's a totally different game when you get to hear. That's how I feel. I mean, it's tough. You don't want to bury and look for excuses, but 2/3 of the first line's gone. Every single defensive pairing's hurt. Right? Pullock doesn't have Pellick. Riley's not in still. It's like, what do you want to? Like, I don't know. It's tough, man. It's tough.
It's tough. But
the only guy that just came back was Romy.
Yeah.
And he came back and still didn't play for like 3 games, and now he's back last week.
Yeah. So it's us being affected defensively is definitely the hardest thing.
Dude, the amount of 2-on-1s or 3-on-1s we see, it's like, oh my God.
Losing forwards is hard enough as it is, but losing defense sucks. But you got a team like Washington they are down 5 players, and I'm pretty sure they're all forwards. But either way, they're down 5 key players.
Yeah.
Okay. And they are at the top of our division.
Yeah. They're great. They're doing absolutely.
They're a team that also was not expected really to make the playoffs. Maybe we're just kind of keeping
last year. Last year, did they make it? I don't know. They were hurting. I don't think they made it. Pittsburgh jumped them and they made it. But they made that unexpected.
Pittsburgh made the playoffs.
Remember, they made that unexpected push. Like
we thought.
Yeah.
No, I gotta see it.
Remember, we talked about it. Like, oh, they're just gonna tank. They're gonna tank.
I just didn't think they had enough in them, but then they were killing it.
Maybe I'm wrong then. I thought
No, you might be right. I want to just see though.
I know
Washington made it. Pittsburgh did not make it.
Gotcha. All right.
Washington made it into the last wild card spot. We made it in 3rd in our division. But right now they're sitting at they were sitting at the top. The Devils still have 4 more games than them played, but they're sitting with 36 points. But Washington was sitting at the top as of yesterday, I think, or the day before. So yeah, I mean, they have 35 points in 24 games.
That's insane.
They're playing well. Their goaltending is now they got Logan Thompson from Vegas, who's very, very good, and they're rotating, and he's having a phenomenal season with Charlie Lindgren. I don't know if you saw Charlie Lindgren scored on himself. I don't know if you saw that. He was. I don't know what the fuck happened, but it was pretty bad. They showed it during our game against Washington, but he was like trying to take the puck and clear it, and he just flung it into his own net. Like it wasn't even like it was awful.
35 points. I just checked. That's insane.
He flung it into his own fucking net, and then the game against us, a puck came towards him, and he was trying to get out of the way. He fucking fell. You saw his skates in the air.
Yeah,
the funniest thing. But whatever. So yeah, no, I get what you're saying. The team is hurt, but there's teams that are also hurt, and that they're making do with what they got, and everybody else is stepping up and whatever. But it comes down to the same problem that I've mentioned before: that the core is aging. The core is aging, and the core is not able to keep up. Some of them are.
Some, sure.
But 2 of them are in their contract years. So they are going balls to the wall because either they're A, going to get re-signed, or B, they're going to get traded, and they're going to go to a team that's going to be in a position to go for the Stanley Cup. Right? So I'm not saying they're thinking that while they're playing every time, but that's got to be in the back of their mind that I need to prove myself to the best of my ability that I can, because I am not a 25-year-old stud. I am a 34-year-old, 36-year-old, whatever how old they are, and I'm having one of the best years of my life. Let me sell high and see what I can do. So we are at a point where if this team can't make up for the lack of starters or normal starters that we have, and we don't have enough depth, right?
No
depth, and we don't have enough of a good caliber team for them to be able to make up for what's lost. Pittsburgh, what's really left of Pittsburgh right now? They got all these young guys coming in, but they're still competing. They're not very far from us. They're still competing. They're at the bottom.
It's all close, bro.
Everything's all very close. So there's not really a lot of excuses. There's some guys on our team, besides defense. Defense is the biggest thing. I get it. But there's guys that need to be able to step up. And if the guys from Bridgeport can't do it, then the underlying issue is that we just don't have the guys. We don't have enough depth. We put all our eggs in one basket.
That's what I said before, though. Like, when's the last time you really see the Islanders get an acquisition?
You can't afford it. That's
what I'm saying. You don't really see it, though.
Yeah.
Like, when's the last time we really seen an acquisition? Like, we've Horvat to Splakov, and everybody else is like we get guys that are already in the league 10 years.
The last time we had a chance,
remember we got like Jason Chamara, Thomas Grice. Thomas Grice was great, but I'm just saying like these are guys that are like did time already. Was like Thomas Grice, Yaroslav Halak. Like we don't really get young stuff. We don't get young guys. We don't. We really don't. Leo Komarov. Like these are guys that like we were dependent when we had them. I'm not just naming like random guys like Brian Strait. Like I'm naming guys who are like we acquired and we used them religiously. And like these like I said, Thomas Grice, Yaroslav Halak, Leo Komarov. Like,
those are guys that
Jason Chamara, like that dude.
That's the difference.
Yeah, Andrew Ladd.
Yeah. Andrew Ladd was a fucking dud. My God.
You know what I'm saying? Andrew, he was our first line.
Yeah.
Him, Oposo, and JT. That was our first line.
They couldn't just keep Molson.
No, and Molson did great. Molson played until like what, 4 years ago.
Molson was phenomenal. He was the perfect partner with Tavares.
We don't really get fresh young guys. We don't. And a lot of our draft picks we just trade away.
Well, because we're trying to get these other players. The biggest name we've got that's been like amazing for us is Horvat. That's it.
That's it. I've only been watching like 12 years now, but like, dude, like I said, in the past, 12 years, the only guys that we really got was, probably Horvat.
More recently was Horvat. Not in all of 12 years. We've had some big names that we've gotten, but Horvat is the most.
I don't know. The biggest one, maybe like Thomas Vanek.
Thomas Vanek was a huge fucking grab.
That was a big bust. Yeah, that was big.
He was a bust. To me, in my mind, their numbers were almost the same, and he didn't play well with Tavares right away. They had to like develop that chemistry. No fault of Thomas Vanek. He was fine where the fuck he was. It was a stupid trade.
Was he in Minnesota?
He was with Buffalo.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. He went to Minnesota after.
He went to. I don't know where. Maybe he did go to Minnesota after. I don't know where the fuck he went. He fell off the face of the earth. But like he did not. He played to the best of his ability with where he was with, the chemistry that he had, whatever. It was just a weird, impulsive trade. We gave away Molson and a first-round pick for Thomas Vanek. To me, Molson and Thomas Vanek at that point were even. Maybe some people don't think that on a pure hockey level of looking at the guys. But, I mean, Molson was the perfect guy playing with Tavares and Okposo. There was no reason to touch that line. You wanted to add other people, that's fine, but not to that line. That line was fine.
And that was another thing, man. At that time, our starting goalie was Evgeny Nabokov. Towards the end of his career, he is our starting goalie. I think he played with us for a couple of seasons, and then he went to San Jose to finish it out because that's where he started, and that was it. Yeah. And then that's where we went to like the shithole because like at 2015 to like 2017, 2018, we went through like 7 or 8 goalies.
Yeah.
You know, we never got a young dude. We just went through like everybody.
Yeah. Well, goalies are hard to come by and be very, very good at a young age. A lot of goalies, they don't really get into their prime until later in their career. Like you're not going to see a phenom goalie very often.
I'm wearing one right now, brother.
21. You know what I mean? Huh?
I'm wearing one right now.
Oh yeah.
He did. Yeah, I mean that's and you're right, dude. It is age, and then like, but that's something I don't see Lou gonna change. I feel like when do we really see we trade? We don't trade. What do we trade? Like we don't trade
right now.
We wait for guys' contracts to run out, and then that's it. And
what do we have to offer? That's the thing.
Our last trade was what? Was Bo, right?
Yeah. Well,
I think right outside of draft picks.
Romanov. So that was for a draft pick.
And then who did we trade? Did we trade for Aho? This season or no? Or was that just I
think we just lost them.
Okay. I was just curious.
I think.
You know. But that's what I'm saying. Like, we don't really. Who did we trade for Romy?
We traded a first-round pick.
First-round pick. Okay.
Which is a great fucking move because Romy was ready to go. You don't know what the first.
And who did we trade for? Bo? I forgot his name.
For Bo?
It was.
We traded Audrey Rossi, a first-round pick, and Anthony Beauvillier.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. We don't. I know.
I still think that was an overpay.
We talked on the phone after that.
It was an amazing grab. I was very happy to have him, but it was still an overpay.
That Rati hurt though a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Rati hurt. The only benefit is he hasn't done shit right now, which is good. So
and that just gets back. Like I know, like age is the issue, and it is. I'm not disagreeing. We have Cizikas, Nelson. We have We still have Matt Martin, and we had that would have been the core 4, right? Cal and Cal Clutterbuck. But we have those 3 guys. Dude, like that's what I'm saying. We don't really trade. We just wait for contracts to go, and then we still fucking re-signed them. Like, you know. So I mean, maybe that'll be in question with Lou, and that's why I think it's Lou's fault. I don't like Waz right. He's not wrong. He's not calling the shots, and he's not because Lou's and I think Lou's son is like the coach for Bridgeport. He puts his whole family into it. So do you really think? Do you think it's like do you think it's Wall who's coaching, or do you think it's a guy who's having a power struggle who's like 80 years old?
I have no idea. That's the thing I'm trying to. That's what we're trying to figure out. But and then you have Lou. That
what do you want? What do you want done? I mean,
I want management. I want like ownership to step in at this point. Ownership's got to do something because regardless of how the team is playing, the team is playing not well, playing mediocre.
No,
we're below 500.
It's subpar hockey because, like I said, we have the deadline. It's going to be here before you know it. Like, what do you want? What would you like?
What would I like?
Yeah.
if by the deadline we're still sitting below 500, we have to get rid of this team.
I think who I think is going to be up on the trading block. I think Suzuki's going to be on the trading block.
I think everybody's going to be on the trading block.
I don't think so. I think realistically, I think it's going to be Suzuki's and then maybe Varley.
Suzuki's might be. That's if we're going to go for a playoff spot, which makes no sense to keep either of those.
We say this every year, but then we squeeze into the wild card.
I know we can't.
we do this every year. We say, "Oh, we're not going to make playoffs," and then we win like 20 games in a row. Like it's the same story every year. Listen. We never.
Eventually, that story.
We never grow in the standing. I know, but I don't know if it will.
Story has to end. Eventually, that story has to end.
You say
we have been in this, and we've been. Listen, I've been around for a lot of rebuilds. Okay, we've seen a lot of rebuilds. A lot of rebuilds every time we're rebuilding. We're rebuilding. We haven't rebuilt in quite a while, and now our team that we built up together, all the pieces that we had Tavares. Didn't work out. He aged out. Right? We lost him. We couldn't afford him. He didn't want to stay. Whatever it was. Yeah. Shit with Shit with Garth and him. Whatever it was.
Yeah.
Okay. He didn't stay. But we got Barzal. Then we got Sorokin. Then we had Letty and Boychuk. And then we had Pollock and Pellick coming up into the mix. They were getting better. They were from Bridgeport. We bred those guys. They were good to go. Then we got in Dobson, somebody young. We got in more youth. And now all our youth is fading away. Everyone's getting old. All the striking distance times, the monster years that players had, they're not having them. So the season is still young. I get it. But it's December. So we have to start thinking about some certain things. And sometimes the reality of the thing is we can't keep doing the same song and dance. It's a waste of our time and a waste of everybody else's time. When there's times where we can be getting some youth and adding to our team and looking like Utah, which all of a sudden has some young studs, they had to admit that they had to fucking go through a rebuild. At some point, we can't.
San Jose is going through it right now. Depending on Celebrini. Like, that is their saving grace right now. Like, their only hope.
And San Jose waited for a long time.
Yes.
They waited for a long time.
Yes.
But we are not in a position where we've consistently made it past over into the conference finals. We haven't made it to the conference finals in quite a while. We've been getting knocked out in the first round. Okay. And we're losing to the same teams. And we have the same problems.
Carolina, I know.
We have the same problems.
But it's not. Do you think that's going to change with this guy running the show? Do you, like, honest to God, you think
I have no idea.
No,
I have no idea. But at some point, we're going to lose everybody for nothing if we keep holding on.
And that was with a lot of guys, bro.
And if we're going to keep holding on,
that was with a lot of guys. That's what I think is going to happen with the core guys. I mean, like maybe
it would be.
Maybe he'll trade like Pulak away. Like, I could see that you could get a lot, but like I don't know if he's. I feel like he's going to hang. Like,
it would be pitiful to lose somebody like Matt Barzal and JG Pajot and Pellick and Polak and all these guys that have.
You want to trade Barzy, or
I don't want to trade any of them. I want to make the playoffs and win the Stanley Cup. Everybody wants that. But the reality is, we're not doing it even when they're healthy. So we need, if everyone's healthy and they start proving me wrong, that's fine. But we still keep making the same problems even when everyone was good to go.
Yeah.
So.
And you don't want to waste the talent in between the pipes right now. That's the other thing. Guys I'd like to keep.
I'm not saying Sorokin has to go. Varlamov should have been traded a while ago.
I thought he was going to be traded last year. I thought
that would have been our piece. He could have been traded 2-3 years ago.
And I thought Polak and Pellick were going to be traded after their injuries. Honest to God, when they came back, dude, they were gone for like 3 months. I thought when they came back and we kind of shit the bed in like January or February, we were shitting the bed hard. I was like, all right, these guys, good. I thought they're going to be up to the block. Same with Ziquez too. But dude, they're just not. He doesn't. I don't think he believes in it, man. I really don't. I think that's a thing, bro. I don't know if he believes in trading people. We didn't trade JT, for the love of God. We didn't trade him. He literally walked away. The face of the franchise for was it 9 seasons?
That was a different GM. But you don't want to have the same.
100%. You're right.
You don't want to have the same thing happen to some of these guys and you lose them for nothing. Imagine Nelson and Palmieri both getting over 60 points and we lose them for nothing because we tried to make the playoffs and didn't make it. I know. And we didn't make it because we couldn't fucking just say, hey.
I agree. I agree, dude. I say every episode since we've started that Nelson and Palmieri are the only fucking reason why we're winning games. That second line and Sorokin because it's not the defense, but
when shit hits the fan and push comes to shove, they might be the only two reasons that we get any major value out of a trade.
Yeah, sure.
Especially with teams that are trying to push for a playoff spot or go deep into the playoffs, and they need that extra oomph. And you got guys that are hot, right? And you want to get a cheap grab for whatever it is. No commitment. Those are guys you get no commitment. Those
sounds like a poster going to Florida. Like Buffalo knew that they weren't going to make a fucking cup for a while, and Florida used them. I think he only played like 9 games in Florida, and they were all Stanley Cup playoff games. He won a cup. God bless, man.
Yeah, but
no, I agree, dude. It's just I don't, and this goes back to both our points. I don't think Wa's in charge. I do not think he is.
No, he's the coach. He is not in charge.
And I don't think he's making any calls on the shots. I don't think so. I feel like he probably sees guys on the market that he would like, and he's not getting.
I'm sure he has that discussion. But the problem also lies with, with management, with ownership. Okay, because now this team, like I said, not playing well. Things are expensive. The attendance at the games are pretty shitty. We play very, very bad at home.
I know.
There's not a lot of positive things right now. I mean, we had a shutout, which is great. That was awesome. All at home.
Still just 2 points. I don't really give a shit.
That's what I'm saying. But like, those are good things. I'm not trying to be negative, Nelly.
No,
I'm just saying that there's a point now with this team where if we're not getting people to sit in the seats and watch because it's too expensive, and then now you're not even playing well enough to get people to bite the bullet and just come to the games and just say, fuck it, I'll get one less beer because I want to see these guys play. I want to see these guys win.
That's a Bridgeport for making $5 Coors Lights now at home games. That's a real thing.
Yeah, we still got to bring them to the island. We need the Long Island Sound Tigers. Seriously, guys, make that move. It needs to happen. Yeah, there's a lot that's not going right, and ownership has to look at somebody and say, okay,
dude, there's Instagram we gotta have to now saying, dude, the guy that followed us on Instagram is Fire Lou. Is his Instagram name?
So we're now in a spot where even if Wah took over as GM, the only real option is to just sell because we have nothing that we can get rid of that isn't a gigantic detriment. And there's nothing that we can get rid of. Right, Varlamov is not having the greatest of seasons. Okay.
Yeah.
If he starts turning around, have some amazing season, whatever. But 2 years ago, he would have been a great addition to a team that was willing to get rid of a number two, a second line forward. That would have been great. Great.
I said it last season. I thought last season, when Sorokin was out, I was like, this is the time. We know Varley's not going to be our number one. When Sorokin comes back, he's going to assume the role. This is the time. I know everything sucks. It sucks letting go of guys, and we're not used to that on this team. But you got to fucking do it.
It was nice having him because he took us through that
100%. 100%. You're right.
We weren't sure about what was going on with Sorokin during the offseason, so I understand why we kept him then. But the year prior and the year before that would have been 2 years where we could have traded him, and we would have gotten a very, very high value for him because he's 2 years younger, and he's still playing well. Still has the ability to be able to be a number one goalie for a team, especially a team that's looking to rebuild and get veterans guys in there to work with a young goalie. And they're fine getting rid of a forward that doesn't really fit on the team right now. Still plays well and adds some value, but his contract's too high, whatever it is. It would have been a great fucking opportunity for that, but he was never on the block. I don't believe so, because if he was, he would have been gone. So seriously, who wouldn't have wanted him at that time? There was a lot of people hard up for a goalie.
It's hard to get a goalie. I know.
There was a lot of people that needed one.
Did you see the big guys go down? Like, remember Ben Bishop was a stud and he went to shit.
Yeah.
You see, guy. Yeah, no, I totally understand.
And he's been consistent. He's not at his Vezina level like he was, but he's been consistent for a majority of his career, and it's hard to find that. So he would have been a great value 2 years ago. I've been stressing that for a long time because people want that piece. They wanted that other player to play with Barzal. They wanted that fire, that fucking major player. And you can't get him unless you give away something of value. But now everyone's aging and the value is less. So now it's harder to trade away something that's not going to be of equal value. So, you know, who do we really trade? You know, we want a big name player. Fuck, man. We're going to have to get rid of a big name player to get a big name player. And that doesn't seem like it works. Because
I feel like what usually happens is we pull up one guy and then we take a few draft picks and we say, all right, we're going to give you all of this and you're going to give us, like, you know, I feel like that's usually.
And we're running out of those.
I know.
We're running out of those trades.
I know.
So that's what I'm saying. So even if Waugh took over, the only way.
You think this is going to happen? You think that? Like, what do you think about that?
I don't know if it's going to happen. I know I mentioned it once before, not once, a couple times now on the podcast, that if Waugh took over and the guy that he called up from the Ramparts, the young guy, and he made him head coach because fuck it, we're rebuilding this team, have a young head coach and have some young draft pick players come in, whatever. If that ever happened, we're fucking cleaning house. That's the only way we can fucking do it. We're not in a retooling. We don't have the ability to retool. We don't have enough cap space. Even with guys on a long-term IR. Okay, what happens when they come back? Then what? What do you do?
Mm-hmm. I agree, man. This is one of the things I said when we signed Duclair. I was like, it's great. I like it. And offensive, I love it. Forward is great. But this guy's like 10th team in 10 seasons. You know what I mean? Like,
he's not the guy that's
what are we looking to do right now? Like what is the plan here?
Yeah.
Like, if this is our big news, like Svakov was great. I love that. Was like our best thing. But like everyone was like, oh yeah, we got Duclair. That's great. I'm like, what's the goal here?
Yeah.
Like, this guy's been around the circuit. Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. Like, we sign guys that are aging, that have been around a bunch of teams. Like, there's a reason why he's not there. There's a reason why he doesn't have long-term contract. There's a reason, bro.
And those are teams that are in striking distance,
and they just need that tool.
They just
totally
need.
Agree. Yes,
we are not that team.
No,
that's the problem.
No, I agree. I agree, man.
Yeah. So
it's good. This is good discussion.
This is good discussion.
I like it.
But yeah, there's definitely something wrong at home between these two guys.
Yeah,
and I think somebody has to come in and fucking say, "Hey, one of you got to go." Something. I would hate to see Waugh go because. Makes no sense to have another new coach.
If he keeps having an idiot boss him around, then I think it might
well, that's what I'm saying. What are you going to be? You're going to be ownership and you're going to tell Lou exactly what he has to do all the time? Then you might as well be GM yourself. You might as well get rid of him, get somebody that you agree with, that you believe will be able to lead this team, that's young enough to make smart decisions, that's not stuck in this old school mentality. It was cool at first because we needed that identity. The shaving, the numbers, all that shit. I got it when we got him. It was annoying. Some people didn't like it. They thought it was too old mentality, whatever. It worked at the time.
You got Trotz?
No, it was when we got Trotz. But Lou makes everybody shave.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody shave. And then the numbers, if you weren't like a special player, whatever number you got, you got. That was it. So,
because I know Bo had 72. He went to 18. Yeah.
All those things, great when it started. When we needed that kick in the ass. When we were just... needed to pick ourselves back up because we had one of the worst seasons we ever had defensively. And I get it. And you have a guy like Trotz that believed in that system. All those things work. They paired well together, was fine. But now we are at a different point. We don't have Trotz. The system has fallen apart. We don't have guys that are able to really play consistently every night. Some guys do. Some guys don't.
Yeah.
And we got guys that are not able to pick up the slack when called upon. And now we don't have enough youth to go for a full rebuild. We'll have to go through a very, very long rebuild because we lost draft picks. So who are we going to grab? Who's going to come up? You're going to take the entire Bridgeport team? Obviously, not all of them are ready.
No.
So you can let him play and hope that you get somebody, a diamond in the rough like Isaiah George, right? He's got a lot of natural talent. Amazing. I'd love to see him play more. But the reality is Is he a guy you're going to call upon when you're trying to win the Stanley Cup playoffs? Not right now. He doesn't seem like it. He makes some green decisions, but not everyone's healthy. And when not everyone's healthy, somebody has to step up. And if they can't do it, then what the fuck are we talking about? You know what I mean? Like, these guys need to fucking do something.
This is my thing, though. If you're going to rebuild, talk about the rebuild, and you got to get something out of the rebuild. You know what I mean? That's my thing. If you want to do this clean house, do rebuild, then you better get something out of the rebuild.
What's going to come out of the rebuild is draft picks and cap space. That's what happens. And you keep guys that can hopefully do the right thing by the team. You can hold on to Sorokin. Sorokin wants to go. He has to suck a dick.
When I mean get out of it, I mean like if we do this big rebuild, like you better like stop. Like you need to not just make playoffs. Like at least conference. Like I know nothing can be guaranteed, but for the love of God, it has to pay off.
It has to pay off. We haven't had a rebuild that's paid off, really.
And that's what I'm trying to say. Like there's like it need like.
But we also had Garth Snow as the manager. We had Mike Mulberry before that, or I don't know if he was exactly right before. We had some questionable GMs. Okay, so we have Lou as a really, really good GM at the time. He is at the end of his thing. He was that, like adding a player. We added him, and he was that extra oomph. And now that extra oomph is worn off. Okay, he's not adding that extra oomph.
No, I know.
So, and then, not having Trotz, he really kept by his word. He didn't want to play. It wasn't. I guess maybe it could have been something between him and Lou, but he didn't want to be a coach anymore. He didn't go to Winnipeg. He went to Nashville, and he's doing a great job as general manager. He doesn't have to go on the road. He's doing what he wanted to do, spend more time with his family, all those things that he's doing, and it worked out for him. But we need to find somebody that's ready to be a GM, that has an idea for a team, and it's going to stick with that the whole way through, no matter how it goes. There's no crystal ball. We can't decide how it's going to go, but we really need to make a decision here, because right now we're going to be at a point where we're waiting too long and we're losing value on these guys, because at the end of the day, it's a business. And I love a lot of these players, and I want them to retire. And as an Islander, I would never want to see them leave. I want to see them raise the cup. But if it's not in the stars, it's not in the cards, whatever you want to say, it's not going to happen. We got to,
and that's,
I hope towards the end of this season, we're talking about them making the playoffs and getting into the first round, getting past the first round.
We'll see, bro.
All these things, but
it's a long way ahead, and
it's a long way ahead. I'm also talking about a long way ahead with a rebuild, but it's just, we are hurting in every aspect right now. And it's not just on the ice. It's attendance. It's sales. It's all this shit. I know that doesn't seem
once you start losing, it all starts happening, my man.
I know it all starts happening, but what also makes it worse is that everything's fucking crazy.
And that's what gets back to the beginning of why Woes is very cut, and I think that's why he's cut and dry. It's just professional. Like, he doesn't get into it, doesn't leak any shit, doesn't say anything dumb. Like, that's it. Like, this is what it is. This is what it is.
The guy. I'm very, very grateful that the guy is our coach.
Hell yeah.
I think giving this guy a second chance, it's great.
We had Doug Weir as our coach. I think anything else, I mean.
So that was another scenario. So, but we've had a lot of interesting coaches too. I mean, Crapuano with his fucking hair.
Yeah. Butch Goring was a coach.
But,
anyways.
Yeah. We had a lot of we had a lot of interesting coaches and GMs and all that. But either way, there's something going wrong at home, and something needs to happen. And there's obviously Watt has no problem mentioning or hinting in a major way that there's something wrong. And that's already not good. You don't want to see that. That's inner shit between management and coaching, and you don't want to see that at all. They should be working together as a team. One should be respecting the other. If one of them starts to not do that, then there's a fucking problem. And that's
what it is, man. Once losing starts to come into play, that's when you start pointing the fingers. Like, this is, well, this is what I gave you. How come it can't work? Well, this is why it can't work. And then once you start blaming other things,
that's when ownership has to come in.
100%. 100%. And that's why we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
All right, man. Good shit.
We'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen.
Another game tomorrow.
Hopefully we can start December off with a bang and fucking beat these guys, because this is a team we should definitely fucking beat. So we will see what happens. There's a lot of teams we should definitely fucking beat and we don't beat. That's another problem. So we will see what happens. But Isles Nation, Isles fans, every fan of the Belmont boys, we love you. We will speak to you soon. Stay sexy. Have a good night. And we will talk to you soon.